Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah.
2 thumbs up. Ready to go. Did they ever give like 1 thumb up, 1 thumb?
Yeah,
No,
they did.
they did. I guess because it was 2 thumbs because
It
like
was
each
2
of them had a thumb.
Correct.
Bscotch. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 190 of Coffee with Butterscotch, the game dev comedy podcast, Butterscotch Shenanigans. I'm Seth and I'm the games programmer.
I'm Adam and I'm just chilling right now.
I'm Sam and I make pictures.
And this is a show where we talk about life, business, and working in the games industry. Today is February 11, 2019.
February 11.
Before we get started, we have a profanity warning. Profanity is going to be it. Warning. It's going to be in there.
Warning.
We'd also like to thank our donors over at moneygrab.bscotch.net who have bought us some coffees, which, allow us to be awake while we record the podcast.
Maybe more like baristas since they're giving us
true.
coffee.
They are.
It's sort of an anti-barista.
Yeah, but except that
they are paying us.
So
to give us coffee.
They're paying us to
So
give
we're
us coffee.
baristas.
Well, no, because we're not giving them coffee in return. They're just.
I don't know if there's a good real world analog
Well,
for
I
this
think
situation.
these are our coffee dates.
Oh,
yeah.
I like it.
And they're picking up the tab.
Yeah.
So it's
Thanks.
really nice. Appreciate
Very
that.
nice.
Feel so warm and fuzzy.
Okay, so we need to talk about life. I need to talk about. I played EVE Online all fucking weekend. This is the first time in a long time that I've just gamed the whole weekend, and it was spectacular. Something that happened I need to share with you guys.
Yeah, spin us a tale.
All right, so for those unfamiliar with EVE Online, it's a game where it's sort of a sandbox game. Players go into this universe, they build spaceships and fight each other, and you can build structures in space called citadels that you can live in, like a space castle.
You mentioned it's both sandbox and castle.
Yeah.
Are there any games that are just actually in a sandbox?
I think
build
Minecraft
castles?
is probably the closest.
Yeah,
That's true.
You know?
Okay.
More of a dirt box or a rock box. So there was this guy who joined our group, and we live in wormhole space. Okay. So there's sort of 2 areas of space. There's wormhole space, and then there's known space. Wormhole space, the only way you can navigate, this is important for a little bit later in the story. The only way you can get around between wormhole systems is by using special scanning equipment and finding wormholes that connect the 2 solar systems together. Okay. And those wormholes, they only last for about a day, and they also collapse over time as ships pass through them. It sort of uses up the mass of the wormhole. Okay. So if too much activity is going through a wormhole, boom, it's gone. Right. So if you live in wormhole space, then you have these new connections appearing and disappearing to different areas of space all the time. Right.
Okay.
So we live in this wormhole, and we got this new guy in our group. He's about 3-month-old pilot, and his name's Brian. Like that's his space name. Like he's making his character for this
epic space
universe
conquest.
sandbox, and he's like, "What do I need to call myself to
What
really
speaks to my soul
to really
The
strike
deepest.
fear into the hearts of my space enemies?" Brian. I'm Brian.
I'm
Space
shaking
Brian.
in my space
Okay.
boots already.
So Brian does this thing that a lot of new characters do, a lot of new players do. He gets his heart set on a particular ship. He loves this ship, and he's like, I'm going to train up. I'm going to learn how to fly this ship. He finally gets it yesterday, and he is trying to figure out what to put on it because it's complicated. There's like all these slots. You got to figure out what weapons to put on it.
Yeah, you don't just buy a ship
You don't just buy a ship.
You basically get like a shell and then you plug in a bunch of stuff.
And there's this whole art in the game called fitting, which is like you can put pretty much anything you want on any ship. And so doing it well is an art, in and of itself. So he's like talking to the rest of us, trying to figure out what do I put on this? His ship's called the Megathron. It's a big battleship.
Brian's Megathron.
So Brian's got this Megathron, and he's super pumped about it. We help him get it set up properly, and so he's flying around the wormhole, and this is a battleship. It's a big ship, right? So when he's jumping through the wormholes, it kind of destabilizes them a little bit because it's taking up a lot of mass, right? So Brian's jumping around, and we've got some new wormholes opening up around us, and so we're checking out what's in there, and there's not a lot going on. So some of us are like, okay, no problem. We're just off in different corners of space doing various activities, but Brian is determined to find some action with his
he wants to fight someone.
He wants to fight someone with this new Megathron. So Brian's roaming around, and finally he's like, I see somebody. I'm going to get him. And we're like, all right, Brian, you go do it, man. Because we're all on voice chat with each other. So Brian's like, I'm engaging. I've got him. I'm going to engage. So he starts fighting this guy and he's like, I don't think I'm going to win. And we're like, oh no, but these fights take a while. These fights take like 5 to 10 minutes because these ships are really big and it takes a while to kind of blow them up.
Down, right.
And so Brian starts panicking and we're like, oh God, we should help out. So several of us kind of drop what we're doing. We fly back to our space station, change out to some ships that we can, help fight with. And we go there and then one of our guys who's a more experienced player sees the person who Brian has attacked. And he's like, oh no, we're going to need a lot more ships. Cause it turns out that Brian had attacked a guy who was part of the third largest mercenary group in the whole game. So
Brian's first fight is basically like a random
He starts a war.
pirate leader.
Yeah. So then our guy who kind of leads things, we're on voice chat. He's like, everybody, combat ships now, get to the station. Shit's about to go down. We're like, oh God. So sure enough, we get like 6 of us. We're helping Brian. And then like 7 enemy ships just warp in on us. And we're like, fuck. And they're all like quicker ships because they got there onto the scene really fast. So they're kind of smaller ones. We take a few of them out. We blow up a bunch. We kind of scatter them and we win. Like we win the fight. We do lose Brian's Megathron. Fortunately, he had managed to get a backup Megathron that he said he was keeping in the station. So he leaves, goes and gets his backup Megathron. And we're clearing the field. We're picking up the wrecks. And we're like, we did it, guys. We did it. But then we're thinking we should get the hell out of here because this is about to go real sideways. So we stay in our combat ships. We go back to our home system. And this wormhole that we've been going back and forth through is starting to get a little bit rocky, like it's starting to destabilize. And you can see the wormhole kind of shrinks, like as ships pass through it, you can see it kind of losing size. So we're waiting, and then all of a sudden, like 10 more ships come through, and these are beasts, like these are monster ships, and they start kicking the shit out of us. We blow up a couple of them, and we keep losing ships, but we're like right next to our home base.
So you just keep on getting new
So they're
ships.
blowing us up, and when your ship blows up, you're in a little escape pod. So we fly back, grab a new ship, come back, and it's like a meat grinder. And we're just like throwing our ships at these guys, and pretty soon we just are out of ships. Like we only have like 4 ships left total in our whole group, and none of them are capable of fighting in any kind of reasonable way. So these guys, they've won. Like they're starting to taunt us. They've got like 10 ships and they start coming after our gas refinery structure and they're like trying to blow up the stuff that we have. And so we don't have anything left to do. We're just sitting in the station, kind of like watching this go down. One of our guys is like, I'm going to get him. And so he goes over to the refinery, starts manning the guns on the refinery, trying to shoot him. Nothing's happening. And we're sitting there scratching our heads. We're like, we have no options here. They're just going to blow everything up. But then we thought, they might not have this system mapped out. They might not know any other wormholes except the one that they came in.
Right.
So we're like,
almost destabilized.
Yeah, we're like, if we can start to collapse it, they'll panic and they'll have to leave or else they're trapped here. Right. And none of them have scanners. None of them can find other wormholes. And then they're like, it's like that.
You're trapped in here with me.
You're locked in here with me situation. So we're like, all right, so we have ships that we can't do anything with, but we can destabilize wormholes. So we start sending our ships out, like just go through the wormhole, come back, go through the wormhole, come back. They see this happening. They all turn off and they start bailing out. As they're leaving,
Brian.
As they're leaving, one guy on like the wormhole collapses as their fleet is going through it, and one of their guys doesn't make it through. And he's stuck. Okay. And we're like, yes, we're going to find like this is our victory that we needed. Right. So we get this guy. We all warp in on him. We've got him trapped. And then the rest of us, like, we all get in our shitty, tiny ships, all that we have left. And we jump on this guy and blow him up. And his little escape pod gets away. Right. And we're like, no, we're not going to.
Not this time.
And he's got no way out. He can't go anywhere because he's in an escape pod. Right. He can't find another wormhole. Right. He can't do anything. All he can do is just warp around from planet to planet. Just warping around, trying to not get caught. So one of our guys has a ship called a flycatcher, which is specifically meant for catching very tiny, fast things that are otherwise kind of hard to get. And so we're all in like whatever small ships we have trying to find this pod. We're trying to get him. The flycatcher, they get him. They find this guy, they trap him, they put a big warp bubble so he can't get out. And we catch him. We're like, everybody get over here. we got to jump on this guy. And we get on him and we're like, all right, buddy, you give us 1 billion ISK and we will show you the way out. We'll show you, we'll get you out of here. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. And then boom, he self-destructs. And he's like, peace. And then that was it. And then Brian afterwards was like, was that my fault? We're like, yes, Brian. But that's fine because it was awesome. So that was my Sunday afternoon.
That's fantastic. Very good.
That's what happened. It's pretty crazy.
When you get to throw a bunch of people into a place that's that, or a game that's that emergent in terms of the stuff that can go down.
But the great thing about it is there was no point to any of it.
Yeah.
No, none of it. Like
Brian just wanted to test out his
everybody
Megathron,
was just doing it to have fun. Like the reason they came in and attacked us was not because of like a big military thing. They were just like, oh yeah, we get to fight people. And that was the whole point of it, So it was a great time. And then that was it. When I logged off, I was like, I'm gonna be done for the day. I can't do it.
You can't have more than that.
All right, let's talk about Dumplefest.
Yeah. So while Seth was busy flying spaceships over the weekend, my wife and I celebrated the Chinese New Year by having a dumpling making party. So basically what we do is and according to tradition, you want to eat as many dumplings as possible because they symbolize money bags. So it's like,
that's cool.
You stack your fortune for the year, right? And so we have friends over, and we've done this now, I think, 2 other times, where we basically transform our kitchen into like a dumpling making factory. And the rule is, if you want to eat, you got to work. So we get everybody in there, and then we were rolling out dough. So we made everything by hand, rolling out dough, chopping it up. Someone's on.
So they really do symbolize money bags in that sense.
Yeah, really. Yeah. You got to work for it. So yeah, someone's rolling them out into little pancakes, and then everybody learns how to fold. And then after our first batch, because basically we'd make a ton of them, they would cook really quick, and then we would go sit down and eat them. Come back to the kitchen, make another round. So we did this 3 times. We made, I think, like 180 or something like that dumplings over the course of the evening. Nice. So a tremendous amount of food. But after the first batch, randomly, I turned around from rolling, and I saw that there's just 2 people who are currently actively folding. Everyone else was kind of chatting, and they're on opposite sides of our little like IKEA kitchen island thing. And it just looked like a face-off. And so I was like, we're going to have a dumpling tournament. So it's going to be a speed-based tournament to see who can fold the fastest. Oh. And so,
is there a quality bar?
There's a quality bar. So we had one of our people became the judge, and so her job was to check for holes. And then if they were like tied on speed, then she would pick the one that was like the best, the most well done.
Did you only make? Was it like one dumpling at a time, or was it like
just one dumpling? So you get your little pancake.
So everything
thing.
rides on the one dumpling.
So
it's not like make 5 dumplings as fast as you can.
No. Okay. No. So it's really quick. So you would get like your one little pancake, and then you put the meat in it, and then we go 3, 2, 1, dumple off, and then everybody starts folding as quickly as they can. And so it started off as this just like kind of goofy thing that we were doing, but very quickly everyone got into it because of course we'd had some booze, everyone's full of dumplings. It's like a very enjoyable thing. And so we ended up having this tournament bracket structure just like emerges where people are dueling each other essentially. And then we end up with one of the guys who was like the second runner up ended up having to leave a little early. And so it became me versus who we called the raid boss, which was a friend of ours who was the one who was judging everything. So she hadn't actually participated because she was too good at making dumplings. And so then we had to fight her. And so we had done one previous round where it was one-handed. And then with her, it was actually blind. So you had to keep your eyes closed the entire time while you're folding this dumpling. And she managed to she did it in like 10 seconds, just blind, not even looking at it. Hand. Just like slams it down on the tray, and it was hysterical. But my favorite one is I was actually against my wife, Diana, and we're like, both of us are going, and we were doing it one-handed. So we're going. And I finished mine, slam it down, and then look over, and Diana's still going. And she just starts screaming. She's like, "How did you do that?" And then she's finishing it up. And then as soon as she finishes it, she pinches it shut, and she goes to pick it up to put it on the tray and just throws it on the ground.
Just acts like flipped
just
it
like,
up.
Boom, on the ground. Yes, it was hysterical.
That's not how you dumple.
That's not how you dumple.
No, it's not how you finish.
It was very fun.
So who was kind of the reigning dumple champ? I mean, obviously aside from the
I ended up taking up, runner up. against the raid boss.
Did you have
It's pretty good.
I was much slower and much more terrible than she was. Though,
So-
giant quality bar.
in tennis? There's a rating system, where you go 4.5 or 5, like,
Mm.
and you only play really against people in your bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, obviously, this one-handed blind dumple folder was like a 7.0.
Different bracket.
Yeah, she was in
Everybody else was
different
probably in the 4s.
bracket. I think so. Yeah.
So
From
against
noobs.
your own sort of bracket,
I was pretty good.
you were
Yeah.
doing pretty
I was
good.
Pretty good.
That's
yeah.
good.
Well, the problem though of being in a bracket is that you're actually never good within your bracket if you make the brackets fine enough to where they're appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then you're always just one person alone in your own bracket.
This
At
is
your own
actually
skill
this
level.
reminds me of one of the problems that we're trying to figure out with Levelhead, which is the idea of sorting levels by difficulty.
Yep.
Because if you bracket levels out by difficulty, then people who seek out that difficulty will go play it, which means better players.
Yep.
Which then
they'll-
lowers-
those things will appear to become easier over time
Yeah.
because more people will be beating them.
But then they get easier. Then they fall into a lower bracket. Now they're really hard.
Yeah.
And then they go back up again.
Mhm.
It's the difficulty yo-yo.
Yeah, it's weird.
So it turns out that having a dumpling bracket tournament could teach you something about sorting levels.
There's always a
and,
lesson.
There's always a lesson.
Yeah, or even we were talking about this question of we have expiring questions on the podcast page where we say like, oh yeah, they'll expire in 4 weeks, and then we thought maybe that's too long. We want to make sure we have enough questions, but it's also possible that having a long expiration timer reduces the likelihood that somebody will ask a question because if there's a lot of questions already,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have this like self
Yep.
perpetuating feedback
Where's the
problem.
balance?
We don't know where the balance is.
Yep.
So, anyways, and then Adam, you watched DC Comic. You watched.
Yeah, my wife and I did a DC Comics marathon, mostly because I've been wanting to watch Wonder Woman for 1,000
You
years.
haven't
When did
actually
it-
seen it.
No, because my wife has to be in the right mood to watch action movies in particular. She likes action
And
movies,
apparently
but
this
it requires
weekend-
a mood.
It was she was just
And
really going.
This weekend she was ready for it, and so we just fucking went in,
Mhm.
just went in there, and we actually started with. I think we started with Wonder Woman, and finally watched that.
And you like
and
that
I was-
guitar lick where it's like,
That's the one.
is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, it pretty much
That's
is.
sick.
super sick.
I can't believe you nailed it. Just
Yeah.
exactly.
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about, but it was a good impression of whatever it is that you're talking about.
Yep.
Definitely.
I know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking
I've been,
about?
I've been listening to the soundtrack as part of my Epic Games and Movies soundtrack list.
Oh,
So I know.
Yeah,
I know
the
that-
epic guitar lick that they do.
There's a lot of epicness just in general, so I don't know.
Is it a guitar? It might not even be a guitar.
It
It's
is
probably a
it
banjo.
yeah. Very strange choice for Wonder Woman. Doesn't really fit her theme.
It had a good kind of eclectic feel to it.
Yeah,
with
I think they were going after the hipster audience.
Wait, why were you guys catching up? I guess because you just hadn't seen him and
It was basically that my wife was in the movie watching mood,
zone. Mhm.
and so she was ready, and I was like, and Wonder Woman was back to rent again, and so I said, I'm either watching this by myself right now, or you're watching it with me
Mhm.
because it's only $4 to rent it. Because I only watch movies 6 months after they've been released, once they are
Come up on
available to
Google Play.
rent on Google Play, right? so it was available again. I missed the window the last time, and it was only like you had to buy it for $20 or whatever. So I was just like waiting for this rental window to come back. So it did. So I was like, we're gonna watch this. So we did, and then Jenny was in the mood now too to like she was now in the DC Comics
Let's
mood,
go.
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you never saw Superman either. So then we did that, and she wasn't expecting it to be. She was like, I don't really care about Superman. He's just so overpowered, and like,
Yep.
he cares, which in general I agree with. But I really like this movie.
Hmm.
I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
And so we watched that. She was like, oh, that was good. That was fun. So I said, okay, well, the next one is Batman versus Superman. And
Did you see the first Superman?
yeah, we watched that first.
Okay.
And so we were, but I also had heard very mixed things about that one.
Yeah.
But I had not seen it, but I said I still, while we're in it, we're just gonna round this thing out.
Mhm.
So we did, and I actually still really enjoyed that one too. But there was a recurring thing I noticed about not Wonder Woman because that was done by a different
Yeah, Wonder Woman was
person. It
fantastic.
was spectacular all the way through. But the other movies, which I think
Mhm.
are made by what's his name, Snyder something.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snyder, and it has this recurring thing where so these are all comic movies, right?
Right.
They're clearly bullshit. That's like their whole thing. Their
Yeah.
whole thing is like fake
They're made up.
science and
Yeah.
magic, and it's all imaginary stuff. Marvel does a really good job of just knowing where you're going to be incredulous and giving you one layer deeper, right? Of explanation. And it's not a good explanation. It's just
So they're like vibranium.
exactly.
It absorbs
Exactly.
impacts.
Right. They give you something.
Therefore, technology
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
magic.
They give you just enough that that it lets you kind of buy it, even though as long as you don't think about it too hard. But everything that happens, you always think about it at least a little bit. So, because you're always like, why is the bad guy doing this? Why are they doing whatever? Right. Something about these Superman movies, both of them, it just always felt like he didn't predict when, where the incredulity was going to come from. And so he didn't bother to explain it enough, right?
I think I had this. Yeah, I think I had a similar reaction.
I think that was my main problem with the whole thing, is that all the parts where I wanted to believe, I wanted to buy in. Right.
You're like, give me one sentence.
Isn't that? Yeah, I just needed anything to hold on to. It didn't have to be good. I didn't need it to be good. I just needed
a little explanation.
I needed a little something.
Isn't that weird though? Because we know inherently that the whole thing is fake.
I know, but
when watching a movie, we always know that.
But there's something about
internal consistency.
Yeah, it has to be consistent, right? And so when it's stuff like, in the Superman, whichever the first one of the new one, I don't know how. Man of Steel. I don't know how to describe these movies anymore because they keep being rebooted.
Yep.
But so in this one, there's this whole world engine thing, and they're all like, okay, we're gonna terraform the Earth now, and blah blah blah. Right. And they never address the question, why not just terraform some other planet?
Or a better question is, why would they terraform the Earth? Because under its current conditions, they get to be basically gods.
Yeah.
So they could just leave it alone.
Right.
And just live there.
And they just decide to kind of, and again, and I get it, because they want the story to be a certain way. But I think this is the thing that I felt with that is, like, in Marvel, I always feel like, yeah, I know they want the story to be a certain way, but it still feels like they connected all the dots.
They got good reasons.
Right.
They always got good reasons.
They have reasons, at least.
They just have them. Maybe that's
but there were a lot of moments in these movies where it just truly felt like they just wanted things to be a certain way, and so they just had them be that way. And there was they didn't bother to sort of connect all the dots. And I think that was the part I still enjoyed the shit out of it. I think the Superman like the Krypton home planet scene in the first Superman, whatever, Man of Steel, was such a cool, interesting place, and the tech was so weird and interesting from a sci-fi perspective that mostly after that movie was over, my wife and I both were like, I want to see a movie set
over there.
Over there. Yeah, it would be really spectacular. I just thought that was interesting, that idea that yes, a thing can be clearly fake, and it's fake. It's all lies and made up.
Mm-hmm. But you want to believe.
And you want to believe, so you're willing to suspend all kinds of disbelief. Yeah. But even still, if people don't connect the dots enough, and again, and not even doing a good job, just making a trail. You just need a steady trail all the way through, so that the moments when you can't help but be incredulous, because you're always asking why are things the way they are. Silly. Yeah. The moments when you can't help but just want to know why a thing is a certain way. If it just feels like it is that way just because, then it just pulls you back out of it, and it's just frustrating.
I think this is actually one of the things the weirdest problem I've had with the Harry Potter universe is actually the fact that the magic seems like it should be so easy to do, because you just say a word and move your wrist.
Stuff, yeah.
That's it. And people don't get tired. They don't get tired from casting spells. It doesn't absorb.
It doesn't come out of your body.
It doesn't come out of your body. And then I read a thing about how the shape of Harry Potter's scar is actually the shape that you do to cast that killing spell. So it's literally like a tiny lightning bolt. Right. I was like, who needs to go to school? Who needs to go to school for more than a month
and
to just bank all?
Why are all these fucking kids trying so hard to not do their homework when you get to learn how to do magic as a consequence?
I mean, you get to learn magic true in normal life anyways.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier.
It's easier. Yeah.
It's way more accessible.
Way better feedback.
Maybe it's so easy that it seems pointless to you.
I guess maybe.
I think it may be what it is.
But if you could spend a day and suddenly be able to build any website that anybody has ever seen before, right? Mm-hmm. Who the fuck wouldn't do that?
But you could always do it later, because it only takes a day.
Yeah, it's but the thing is, they do enough explanation. I guess that's the weird thing, is they don't actually explain the education, which to me is always confusing.
Why you got to go to school for this? Look at this defense against the dark arts. It's here's this giant tome that you have to learn.
Yeah, I'm like, why is it a tome? There's the total instruction for any one of these spells.
The great thing is
a tiny picture.
The great thing is they do show you some of the spells where they'll be like, I can't remember what the one is.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Where you just throw the person away or whatever. There's a spell where you just fling a person, right?
That's the grav gun spell.
Yeah. and they just kind of knock a person down or whatever. And they learn that spell in a minute. They learn it in person. He's like, I'm gonna teach you this spell. He's like, you do this, and all the kids bleh! And then they throw something, right? And he's like, good, you did it. And then for the next 3 movies, anytime somebody gets into a conflict, they just use that. They're just bleh! They just knock the person down.
They didn't learn any other things.
Yeah, what the fuck we do in the other 364 days of the year?
Yep.
in class.
Yeah, the schooling never really made sense to me in there.
It felt like
we're gonna get hit by some Potterheads. We're gonna get brigaded.
Potterheads.
But Harry Potter felt the same way to me too, which was just that things just were intended to be a certain way. You know, there was like a certain story that J.K. Rowling wanted to tell, and it took place in this environment, and so just things happened to make all that kind of come true. But it didn't really feel like it needed to be that way, and often actually felt like it really shouldn't have been that way, and it just had to serve the story, you know. Because it was stuff like in Man of Steel, one of the early scenes, you know, like so the kid's like figuring out he has powers and whatever, right? And he freaks out and he's like hiding in a closet, and then the teacher comes over, she's trying to get him to come out, and then all the kids come over and they're like all like standing around this door, and Jenny Hope is like why would the teacher bring all the kids out here? And I was like, for dramatic effect. You know, like, but again, it's one of those things that they just keep on doing this shit. And it just reminds you that you're watching a movie and they're like, and that things would not be this way or don't have to be this way or whatever. And they're just doing it because they want to evoke a certain thing, you know? And it's at some point, if you start noticing
once you see
that,
it, you can't
unsee it. And then you're just like, yeah, why?
Yeah. So, I mean, because I watched the Aquaman movie, which it was genuinely bad.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna watch it.
Oh man! Well, the thing is, it's visually spectacular.
Yeah, so they at least have that.
But it's like it's genuinely bad, and I don't. There's actually like you can still enjoy it, you know. But you
put
enjoy
that in
it.
Quotes genuinely bad.
Well,
Sam.
It was crazy. It's like a lot of their plot devices, like people would get together in a room, and then there'd just be an explosion. Not even kidding. Out of nowhere. This happens like I think 4 times across like a lot of expositions happening. They're like, oh, we found this thing. Boom, it explodes. Now there's a new problem, right? Literally, they lurch from problem to problem via explosions in this context.
That's basically how we handled most of our animation problems.
Yeah. That's how you cover up holes, right? So
that's true.
So but I was watching it and I was like, I don't get it because you spent millions of dollars making it was visually spectacular, right? Making all this stuff. And there were a few scenes that were just really cool. So cool. But the coherency of it was just like
that's the thing that's always weirded me out is with all the money that goes into a movie and all the production and the VFX and everything. And then the one thing that nobody apparently gives a shit about is the script, which is presumably the cheapest thing to make,
to iterate on, too.
And to iterate on and to refine and the whole I got the whole process. And you also don't start any of the rest of the process until you got that part
unlock.
Right? And that's the part that falls through the cracks. Maybe it's really hard. It's probably hard.
Well, it's probably well, I mean, it is hard.
All of it's hard. Yeah.
It also could be a weird like rights problem, you know, like maybe because they buy it. You know,
right.
Maybe it's actually maybe getting a script for a comic or something like that is the hardest thing to do because of the level of bureaucracy and legal.
Yeah, and maybe you're just not because maybe you're not allowed to check. And we've talked to people who've worked with big IPs before, and some people who run game studios, and the nightmare surrounding being able to, like, you know, they're being hired by some company to make a game based off of that company's, you know, really big IP,
or they're paying for a license, actually,
or they're paying for a license to do it, which is a whole other thing to be involved with. And then that company just will say no to everything because, of course, they have to protect the sort of sanctity of their IP. And so, if you want to make a cute version,
but is there sanctity to Aquaman's IP? This is my question. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but like think about how seriously DC Comics takes themselves.
They do.
Yeah. It's not about Aquaman specifically. It's about just
all of it.
It's about, you know, you got to treat all of your IP as sacred and you got to protect it.
And so maybe when people write these scripts and they say like, okay, like I'm gonna have this happen, you know, and then they send it back to DC and DC's like, well, no, because in episode, you know, 5 of this version of one of our comics, you know, he did this. And so he would never do that. And so then you have to like used to start like stripping away everything, dumbing it down, like having nothing happen.
Or you say the most important thing is this other character also that's associated with Aquaman, and that's like a really crucial part of his story, and we need to make sure that we like tell that as part of this. And they'd be like, yeah, but you got to license that other character too, so pay up. No, like, shit, never mind. I guess we'll just cut that out.
Yeah, but I found myself in that same context. I was just like, why can't you weave this together?
Yeah,
it's cool. The whole thing's very cool, but it's like, can you just fill the bottom of the basket here instead of just giving me like a rim, which is it? They're like, look at this Aquaman rim, and then you just fall through it, and you're like, okay, that was the thing.
It's no good.
Yeah, it is weird when they just they just wanted to, like, it's also the whole like Batman versus Superman thing. They just wanted the two of them to fight.
Yeah.
That was just a thing that had to happen.
And it's like
right?
Superman could just kill the shit out of Batman.
Yeah, so they had to set up, they had to contrive all this shit to make that not be
Well, and
true.
also Batman's whole thing is I don't kill people.
Not in this one though.
And then this one, he's
true,
like,
yeah.
I'm killing this guy.
But,
I'm just going to kill
But in
this
that
guy.
movie, he was all about killing people.
Yeah.
Did
It
you
was
see?
fun. It was very fun.
I mean, it was like that was the first time I saw Batman with a machine gun, which was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I honestly, I really do like this version of Batman.
Yeah.
He's like a crusher.
yeah.
Like he fights people.
He's
and-
basically he's the Punisher
yeah.
Yep.
But with money.
with money and a mask. Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting because I wanted to like them all more than I did,
Yep.
but I still enjoyed them. I had a good time. But yeah, it was definitely the case of just like the comparison of the visual effects and how well put together it was with
yeah,
the
with the
just the
story.
rockiness of the story and how much because with the I'm going to try not to give away any spoilers as I'm talking about it in case people haven't seen these things, but
It's been years.
the whole Batman versus Superman thing when he has like when Batman finally realizes he's in the wrong, that moment was so just dumb. It was so dumb because like he was just enraged this entire time at Superman, right? He was just enraged, like nothing he wanted in the universe more than to just murder the fuck out of Superman, right? And this one thing happens that doesn't really make sense. And in that moment, he's like, "Oh my god!" He doesn't, and then
I did this wrong though.
yeah, but he doesn't say anything. He just like stops trying to murder Superman. He's like, "I'm going to help you now." And then literally in like one scene later, he's rescuing somebody, and the person's like, like freaked out, and he says, "Don't worry, I'm a friend of Superman."
Mm.
Like, and this is like this.
I mean, not historically, but going forward,
not sensically. Yeah, it was just so weird.
Well,
So anyway, that
so I'm
happened.
going to watch Aquaman though. I mean,
Good luck.
Yeah.
It is also good luck. It is so long. It is so, I don't understand. They had so many scenes. There's so many
that's
settings.
what Destructoid said about Crashlands.
Yeah.
Well, they said, "Good luck. This is too long."
Maybe
So,
it's right in both context.
I guess not everything is for everyone. Also, we have GDC coming up, so we're preparing for that. It's the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. So not a lot to say yet, other than that this is an interesting time for game development because what it means is we have to shift our total focus for the next like 4 or 5 weeks on spectacles.
Yep.
Right.
Polish and spectacle.
Yeah, because we're going to be showing the game to different people at GDC, people who get to make decisions about the success of the game, and we have to blow their socks off. And so during this next 4-week period, we have to enter this kind of uncomfortable phase of development where we know there's problems with the game. There's a laundry list of things, about 197 of them, specifically, roughly, that we need to fix that are maybe bugs, that are sort of systems problems. Like, hey, maybe your save gets randomly deleted or something. It doesn't, probably, but it might. Okay. Like, that's a problem. But doesn't matter for a demo because there is no save.
You're seeing, if someone's going to see it for 15 minutes, none of these bugs matter literally at all.
Yep.
So we got to go on a
It has to
charm
work
offensive.
spectacularly for 15 minutes.
Yeah. And under contrived circumstances and everything, right? And so we have to enter this phase of development where we kind of let problems sit
You just let 'em sit.
and kind of pile up for a while and just focus on visuals,
Actually,
special effects, all that.
On this note, there's a book I just listened to about the history of the internet. It's a pretty new book. And they were talking about, I think, the original iPhone, I believe. So Apple made this thing. It was the first phone they'd ever made, right? And so they didn't know what they were doing, and they had this, just crazy schedule of trying to get this thing out. And then they went to go have Steve Jobs show it at like one of the big things that he shows things at, and it wasn't working. Like the day before, the device was not working. So it's the same deal. They had to control. They had to find. They didn't have enough time to fix it, right? So they had to find this exact sequence of things that they could do that had the highest probability of
not
crash
crashing.
without a hitch, right? And they found like all this weird shit. It was like if you would open the browser before you like tapped a certain button, it was like guaranteed to crash. There's like all these like weird connections, and they even hard coded the bars on the thing to be at 5 because they didn't know how much signal they were going to have. And they were doing this
So
partnership.
they just faked.
Yeah, so they just faked it. And they were
signal.
doing this partnership with AT&T, and AT&T brought in a mobile antenna to guarantee that they would have the maximum possible signal they could possibly have like available for this event, right? And so they did all of these things so that the end result, it was like literally they just had a map of like he has to go through exactly these steps from turning the thing on through turning it off at the end. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, you see this all the time.
yeah.
like that No Man's Sky trailer that everybody talks shit about. It's like there's, you know, when you're showing a product like this that's in active development, it doesn't work.
Yeah. No,
it's in active development.
And you also don't know exactly, you have an idea of what it's going to turn out to be, but you don't know exactly because that's still some time.
You've got a vision for it and you've got a lot of the pieces and you also know the path for how to get the rest of the pieces in place, but there's just no time, right? And like, you can't ask if you have a big tech demo coming up. We can't call the GDC committee and be like, actually, can you guys just reschedule GDC for like 2 more months so we can kind of touch up all these features? Yep. You know, you just gotta, like, there's a bunch of stuff in Levelhead, which isn't to say that we're not going to portray like a dishonest version of it. It's just that we have to leave a lot of things until after GDC to fix.
The known bugs and stuff will just be there.
Yeah. And if the bug is small enough or, you know, if it's infrequent enough, we're like, fuck it. Just let it sit, you know, let it ride. We'll fix it after. So that's uncomfortable, but it's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting part of development. And the last little bit of news, Apex Legends popped out just out of the ether.
Yeah. So this is a new game. It's a battle royale game from EA of all people.
And they just launched it.
They Beyonce'd it, which is now sort of the term we use for just suddenly launching a product that does extremely well.
It sounds better than Fallout Sheltered.
They Fallout Sheltered it.
Yeah. So basically what they did is, and I think they knew, it's set in the Titanfall universe. Did we talk about this last week? I can't remember.
No.
But it's set in the Titanfall universe. And the major reason why they didn't talk about it was because they knew that if they said, oh, we're taking Titanfall, which people like, we're going to make a free-to-play game, and it's a battle royale, that everyone would have just rioted. Yeah. So instead, they were just like,
we're just going to cash grab bullshit, but because also it's EA. And
so instead, they just didn't say anything about it, and then just launched it on like a Tuesday or something.
Yeah, you don't give people time to be mad about it existing.
Yeah, and it's been popping off like hotcakes. It's like got 10 million players in 3 days.
It's also how Diablo Mobile should have been.
That's exactly what they should.
That should not have been a BlizzCon announcement.
No, that should have. Because I think it's like if that just suddenly appeared and I was like, oh, should I? And I could just go play it on my phone. I would have gone and played it.
Yep,
just to see, you know.
Yeah. But now I'm just mad about it.
But I'm not even mad about it. I'm just so now amused by the whole situation that I'm now beyond caring about it. And now it's just not a thing that's on my radar.
That's weird. It's like anti-hype.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like if there's something that you know is good, but that because of the context
that got kind of ruined,
people would have a hard time accepting it.
Yeah, you should not say a word.
Just don't say a word.
Don't say a word.
Just make it suddenly available, and then they're like, well, I object, but it is free.
But it's also kind of interesting too because it's taking advantage of the anti-hype, right? Because now you have a whole bunch of people who want to be mad about it, so they're going to go look for reasons to be mad about it. And then they have to go play it.
They come out
to find out what to be mad about.
Yeah, and then they come out and they go, actually,
it's pretty good.
I really like this.
Yeah, so actually, I think the toxicity in that case actually works in your favor if you have a good product. If you have a good product, if you have a good product and you don't give a chance, so you allow the people who want to be mad to try to be mad by buying and using your product.
Mm-hmm. Right. In this case, it's free, so you just get on it.
Exactly. But the problem is if you do that before it's available, so people can't go try it, all they can do is speculate and be mad, then there's no recovery from that.
Right. I will say I won't be playing it primarily because
the
Apex Legends. I was watching the trailer and stuff, and there's a lot of very gruesome like murder in it.
Someone said it's Fortnite for adults.
Yeah.
It's the framing.
Yeah, like I saw a scene where somebody wins and like the other person like grabs him by the neck and like takes out a knife and like stabs him in the belly, you know? And I'm like, I don't like this.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. So, but it is, I mean, other people like it. So it's going very well.
Oh, wait, maybe I'm thinking of that other one. Anthem? No.
Anthem, they have dope like mech suits that they're flying around. And so probably
okay, so it's not that one. Yeah. Somebody gets stabbed. I didn't know.
Is it Mortal Kombat you're thinking about? Because that was
there's a lot of stabbing in there.
That's fucked up.
There will be a Mortal Kombat battle royale.
Oh my god! But yeah, so it's interesting because of this. You see this environment really heating up with all these entrants into the battle royale market, and so the question is, where's Fortnite at on its sort of life cycle, and how is it gonna sustain and survive off of things like this?
Well, I mean,
I think they just started plateauing, I believe, like on Twitch streamers.
They're going to plateau, and yeah, you're also seeing the Twitch streamers and the popular influencers have done that pivot that always happens in a game's life cycle, which is they play the game for 16 hours a day, and at a certain point, they're mad about it. Mm-hmm. They just all they can see is flaws.
Bugs,
yeah, and a lot of their content comes down to them sort of complaining about problems that the game has, or complaining about the developers or whatever, and. I mean, the thing that always keeps people entrenched in these games is their communities, their friends are playing and all that stuff. So no matter what, it's still really hard to unseat the winner, you know? And you saw this like back when the game of its day was World of Warcraft with 12 million subscribers, and there was every 6 months a new quote WoW killer came out, which was an MMO that looked a lot like WoW, played a lot like WoW, had some iteration on the features, but that game would pop up, be real popular for a month or two, and then
Die.
People would go back to play with their friends, you know? So could go that way with this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious.
Yeah.
About. I'm really curious to see kind of how it plays out over the next couple months.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just a different niche, you know, it'll find its.
I think it'll be a different niche. And some of that niche might be taken out of Fortnite. And, you know, at some point, Fortnite will stop growing. It has to, because markets get saturated. Yeah. That's just what happens. And then once you've saturated a market, decline has to be the next phase, because otherwise, unless you're doing something very interesting and clever to kind of keep the churn, so that you're bringing in new people as fast as you're losing other
But
people.
even, I mean, like Minecraft is still, no one talks about it anymore, but they posted like their best year ever.
Yeah. And they still have more concurrent users at any given moment than Fortnite has.
Yep.
Do they? For
Yeah.
real?
Wow. Or daily active users.
And of course, what you
same.
saw at that time was every 10th game to come out was a
Minecraft
blocky sort of 3D crafting game, right? So,
but the interesting thing to me here is that nobody's talking about Minecraft, right? It's just
That's what I mean.
It's just off doing its thing.
same thing with Candy Crush. Candy Crush is still making $2 billion a year.
Also, think about
They're just making-
think about Roblox. Like,
Yep.
the only
Making
place I
money
ever
hand over
hear
fist,
about
doing
Roblox is on Games Industry Biz. Every like 6 months, they're like, by the way, we just made the most money we've ever made, and it's like no one.
Yeah.
I know no one who's talking about this.
Yeah. Is Roblox from a publicly traded company?
I have no idea.
Well, no,
I don't think so.
people aren't talking about it because people only talk about new things.
Yeah.
So like
The Roblox has been around.
that's why it's
time.
called news, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you say like Roblox is still making a bunch of money, it's like, well, that's not news.
Well,
That's old.
It's interesting though that the framing is like this, because it makes everybody feel like there's just all this really active like arrival and decay of all these games, and like if something is, but we have these games that have just been doing fun. Like actually, World of Warcraft, as much shit as everybody gives it, has had a stable population of players.
For 15 years.
15 years, right? And everyone's freaking out because they're like, with every new expansion, they get those new players come back in and they all go away again. And they're like, oh no, like this is the death of Blizzard.
I mean, shit, the story I told from this weekend is from EVE Online, which came out in 2003.
Yeah. And they're also, and that company's also freaked out because they're like, oh, we're not collecting new users or whatever. And they went free to play to see, or had a free trial, or whatever they did. And got that huge spike of players that literally all left immediately, and they were back to their core players again. and they're freaking out about this. But like the fact is, if you have a core set of players who love the thing that you made, and you're making enough money to do fine,
that can be fine.
It's not even can be fine. That's, to me, that's the preferred, less crazy way of doing things. Because
if you're publicly traded,
that's exactly
because you need growth. Because your players are not your customers. Your shareholders are your customers.
Mm-hmm. And CCP is not publicly
traded.
I don't think so.
But yeah, they've done a lot of interesting stuff. Like they made a first-person shooter called Dust 514. It was a PlayStation-only game, and it existed in the same servers.
It was on the planet.
It was on the planets
in Eve.
of Eve. And so like players in space playing Eve online could support players in their first person shooter games by doing orbital bombardments and stuff. So like if you called down an airstrike,
that's pretty fucking cool.
Like if you called down an airstrike in this first person shooter, there's literally another player flying a fucking spaceship doing it. And like in a ship that they built, like with a group of other, like it's crazy. But the problem was it was restricted to PlayStation only, and of course the entire Eve player base otherwise
PlayStation only.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of decision?
So
was
then
that?
it died. It died.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It was not good. And then they also
wait. So they had a PC only game supporting a PlayStation only game.
Yeah. I'll have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's how
it was console only at least. So
yeah, because I remember I wanted to play Dust, but I couldn't.
You couldn't because you have a $500.
Yeah, which was true of a lot of Eve players.
I'm kind of pissed at how stupid that decision was.
But I mean, it's not the case that this company just made this one game and then that's all they've done, because they've also done VR games, and they've been trying to spin off and expand, because also they realize the future of EVE Online is stable or down. Like that's kind of those are the two kind of options. A lot of people who would have tried it at some point in the past 17 years or 16 years probably have at this
It's
point.
true. If you've been around that long, you can kind of count on
You're not
it.
looking. You're not going to get a
getting an
huge new
explosion
spike.
of any sort.
Yeah. So there's that, but you will with a new game, right? So yeah, it's all very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get on to some questions. These questions come from our listeners over at podcast.bscotch.net. We got a shiny new page, courtesy of Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, sir. We also have a whole new suite of questions on this page, and all the old questions. If you had asked something on the old website, those are gone now. We killed it.
They're dead. We burned it down.
They're not dead. Well, actually, they will be.
They'll be
by the
dead.
time this goes live.
So if you did ask a question a while back and you want to sort of refresh it, then move back over, go to podcast.bscotch.net and ask on there. First question comes from MySecretWeapon. When I finally get around to ordering my copy of Metaphorgasm by Sam Coster, a collection of poems chronicling the life and mind of a male college cheerleader and his unfortunate imagination, infused with a sass load a freight train couldn't carry.
I assume that's the tagline of
Probably. Sounds about right.
of the actual book.
Can I send it off to get it signed by Sam and maybe even the rest of the Bscotch crew?
Very funny. You can bring it.
I will definitely sign it. I don't know if Sam will.
You can bring
Sam
it.
will draw like a middle finger on it.
Yeah.
Like, stop buying this book.
Someone brought one to Shenanicon
Yeah.
and then showed me that after everything was done, we're winding it down, like after we had hung out for a couple hours after the show even. He's like, oh, I got something I'd like to show you. And I was like, all right. He's like, yeah, come back to my car. And I was like, you're going to kill me? And he's like, no, we're good. So we walk over there and he pulls out the book and he just
And
starts
then you
kind of
died
giggling.
anyway.
Yeah, I died anyways on the inside. And then he was like, can you sign it? So I just wrote, I can't believe you've done this. But I think, I'm not sure. I'll need to check. I think because I still haven't updated anything in that whole like Amazon account system that actually has the book, I think it might not be available anymore.
Oh,
So
how do you feel about
I'll need
that?
to look fantastic. I'll need to look into it, but I think it's actually gone.
Okay. I think the best thing about this is like because you're so appalled by the fact that this book exists, it makes people want to. It's like you've got your Streisand effect.
I know. Every time we talk about it, I try to just be like, I don't even care. I don't even know.
No, I don't
It's,
care about
you
it. But you can't betray your feelings.
know, when you wrote a book of poetry when you're 18, it's like, no, you're good.
Yeah.
You're going to have some feelings.
Hashtag deep. All right. Next question comes from CoffeeChemist. Do y'all give good hugs?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I don't think I'm the best judge of that.
So here's the thing.
Why aren't you a good judge of your own hugs?
It's only the person who's being hugged who can.
Nah.
Good
you
hugs
know.
are in the eye of the Hugee.
The huggy.
No, I think some people.
I guess it is a huggy. It has to be, right?
It must be.
I don't know. I think when you hug someone, you have to be showing that you're like comfortable with them.
No, you have to be showing off your strength.
You could go for the rib crush.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, so hugging, there's a couple of issues that sometimes can get in the way here.
Mhm.
Okay. So one is if you are a diagonal hugger,
I hate diagonal
right?
huggers.
Like one arm up, one arm down, kind of do the.
Oh no, that's fine. I thought you were talking about as far as like how your bodies are oriented. In
Oh no,
space.
like a lean in, like a
the
weird.
leaning,
I
or like the
prefer
side
the
hugging.
cross-shaped one where I just run and jump and
Oh,
then
you
kind
go
of turn
sideways.
sideways.
How do you hug from the side?
You wrap around. It's just like, or you like
so you
wrap,
have one arm goes around the neck.
no, it's like your arms are kind of going up completely because you're kind of whipping around them like a bolo. You know?
Oh, I see.
So you
a bolo.
So
hug.
you run,
You run and then you leap and then
and then you turn sideways,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you just
and you bolo.
You sort
like
of
a belt.
You,
Yeah, like a belt.
You encapsulate them.
or like those
with your
those-
entire
hug.
body.
or like a slap bracelet.
You just slap hug them.
yeah. If you hug like a slap bracelet,
Does it
you're
make a
doing it
sound?
right.
Is it like? And then you
It
kind
does,
of,
yeah. I really wish
You
in
kinda-
movies where they have those scenes where people are like
Oh,
see
they
each
run
other
at
from
each other?
afar and they start running across the field. You know that was
One
the
of the-
kind of hug that they would provide.
That would be
so
unreal.
you kind of jump. Let me try to. So you jump,
It is
rotate,
tricky. Yeah,
to
jump.
be parallel with the floor,
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
but still facing the person.
Yes. Correct.
you
hit
hug-
them
You hit
sort
him,
of
you
like
hit him with your like
you
belly,
kind of belt. You
basically.
kind of
belly to belly.
You hit them abdominal up to abdominals. Then you fold around them.
Correct.
Now, this seems hard on the knees in the sense that once
the
your
other
knees
person.
bend the other way to finish the fold,
Well, no,
you've got a medical problem.
Your arms are around and you basically grab the backs of your
Yeah,
knees.
you're
That's how
doing
it
almost like a somersault tuck,
Yeah.
but there's a person
There's a
wedged
person
between
in there.
between you and your legs. You know?
and then they're standing there with their arms up,
Uh-huh.
but now there's a person just wrapped around there,
Well, they have to hug
Abdomen.
down there. So
Exactly.
they hug down.
and then they kind of hug down and pat you on the back.
Yep. They coo a little bit.
Yeah. Ooh, nice.
Nice job.
That was a good slap
hug.
Slap hug.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's one way.
Yeah.
That's one approach.
It's obviously the best way.
It's the best one. You got to make sure
There's
that
another good one though, where when two people like are doing like those flip things, those flip routines, like at each other really, really fast.
Back handsprings.
Like handsprings. They keep getting higher and higher and higher, and they do a final leap and they hug in midair.
that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Only Olympic gymnasts can do it.
Yes, that's correct.
Doctors hate it. With this, hug your Olympic gymnast friends with this one weird trick. Yep.
Yeah, the kind of hugs I hate are the diagonal ones where they come like your bodies are actually facing away from each other still. I'm like, what are we doing? Get your what is this?
Get in here.
That's to keep
Bring it in.
too friendly.
Right, but don't hug me if we're not friendly.
Yeah.
Why?
Then you should
know what I
just
mean?
go for the handshake.
Just go for a handshake. If you're gonna give me
Or
a
a fist
diagonal
bump.
hug, fist bump, handshake, give me a pat.
What do
on the
you
back
think
and
about the combo hug shake where you like they put their hand up? All right, so for starters, I have a
Oh,
I
enjoy
never know
those.
what to do with handshakes because everybody's got their own style.
brand. Yeah, you can be careful.
So I put my hand out and somebody's like, boom, and now their hand's upside down. And I'm like, do I? And then I'll like grab it or something. Yeah. And then they take it up a notch where like once you engage, then they're like, bring it in. And now you're handshaking, but then also you've got
Hugging.
like a one-arm hug.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole situation escalates.
I enjoy those. I'm good for those.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
them,
fun.
but I wish there was a better
They're
way
just
to.
too hard to predict.
There needs to be a turning signal.
Well, so that's actually
for
what it is.
hugging.
If you handshake like a normal handshake, you do not go in for the hug. Also, if you handshake with your hand up, so both your hands are angled upward and you clasp them.
Clasp.
If you clasp your hands together, then you pull in because then your bicep can
and
work.
the signal
You
there,
yank each other inward.
the signal there is that your hand is basically up.
But also
Yes,
the other arm needs to be out where you're like, this is a hug
Yes.
move.
So you said you come at someone like
You come at somebody
like you're about to dance,
like you're about to
with
dance.
which I guess
You're
you
like,
are.
let's tango
Uh-huh.
very briefly
Yeah.
with no music.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what a hug is.
That
right?
is exactly what it is. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've got this whole hugging thing figured
got it
out.
right.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Next question comes from Beekie Boppaboop.
Oh, Beekie Boppaboop's killing it.
Beekie
these last 2
Boppaboop
weeks.
is really on the question game. Beekie Boppaboop says, "Are there any items you really wanted to add to Levelhead, but you decided you shouldn't because of some reason?"
Yeah,
So, but I think we're kind of backpedaling on a lot of them.
we are.
So, like for example, we wanted to give players camera control, and we talked about that last week.
Mhm.
And we didn't do it for the longest time because we thought people are going to use this to troll people. Like they're going to use this to ruin other people's experiences, and we can't trust players with this power.
Mhm.
But then we thought about it. We're already trusting players with literally all the power.
Yep.
And
So-
we have all of our quality-based algorithms should
Yeah.
make it such that if people are leaving your level because you're like constantly vibrating the camera as they're walking, which would be really annoying.
Then we should have systems that just suppress it. That suppress.
we're all
it.
rather
Should we
than
talk
just do
about the
that.
dumpster fire?
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I finished. So last week I finished the main menu for the game, which is it's basically sort of like it's basically looking out over the Levelhead campus and space station where all this stuff is happening. And so the idea was to really set this in the universe in a big way. So instead of navigating through a bunch of buttons, you're actually navigating like this little town thing. And as part of the sketching process, we were trying to figure out where to put the levels that managed to get out of the marketing department. So first you build your level, you publish it, it goes into marketing. And that's where everybody plays basically these untested levels.
Because basically everything will get out of there if you are playing other people's levels.
Yeah. And so what you can do then is your level goes into marketing once it's published. And then you go into marketing, play some other people's levels, and then dump your exposure bucks that you earn from marketing into your own levels, which pushes them up the charts. And then people basically play, what's at the top. So your levels kind of cycle out of there really fast. And they then get, after a certain number of plays, we use that as the sort of statistical basis for how hard a level it is, what the quality is. And then those go into the tower, which is where all the levels that have been past marketing live. The problem is levels can get out of the marketing department that haven't actually been beaten yet. Because we just check for a certain number of plays and a certain level of quality. And so you can have a level that people are actually engaging with quite a bit that gets actually a good number of plays, but that no one has managed to finish yet.
But you can also get a level that hasn't been finished because nobody wants to finish it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we can't tell the difference between those two
And
things.
probably most things are not finished because people don't want to finish them.
Yeah. And for example, you made a really hard level and then just didn't put any checkpoints in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard, but also annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
You
want
got to ride that line.
Yeah.
And
I want to
so-
challenge.
It's got to be hard in a good way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to challenge, but I don't want to ruin my life. You know what I mean?
And also it allows us to find those levels because a lot of the levels that we see in games like Super Mario Maker are actually using glitches to make it so that that's the only way you can clear the level. And so it's already been the case that even just with our tiny little QA testers, the levels that tend to be used for glitches
Wait,
where
are QA testers tiny?
they're very small. Our tiny group of QA testers.
The thing is, we've just got this little room in the back, and we just didn't have the
You
space.
just had to fit them in there. You just shove them in there until they
That's
fit.
one of the criteria.
But yeah, so it's already been the case that the unbeaten floor, which is what we were just sort of taking to calling it, the unbeaten levels were already showing us places where people were taking advantage of glitches that we didn't even know were present.
Yeah.
So it's been really good for us because it puts content in there that one is either boring, right, where you don't actually want to beat it because it's too hard or dumb or whatever else.
Yeah.
And then two might use a glitch that you can't figure out as a player.
And so you just literally can't proceed.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. Because either you know the glitch and can proceed, or you don't and can't.
Yes.
And there's no in between.
And there's no way to figure it out because it's a glitch. So you need to know how exactly to work it. And so in the original drawing for the main menu for this sort of space station setting, we had thought about basically making a dumpster, which had the
That
five.
would be on fire.
That would be on
There would be a
fire.
literal dumpster fire.
Mhm.
And that's
where those levels go.
Yeah.
It was in the drawing for a good
So
while.
we have the tower, and the tower is where the beatable levels that have been beaten, and we know how hard they are.
That's where they live.
Yeah, that's where they live. And then there's a dumpster fire next to it, which is where the levels that nobody's beaten go.
Yep.
Because we assume that most of the time it hasn't been beaten because nobody wants to get to the end.
Yes.
Yeah, and there could be some good stuff in there potentially, but we knew that also that would then arise a whole group of people who would just go dumpster diving trying to find the good stuff out of there.
But we ended up taking it out.
But it would
For
still be
number
sorted
reasons.
by best. Like if you look in the dumpster, the levels would still be sorted by best, which is like levels that people actually spent a bunch of time around with and stick around.
Yeah.
So you'd still have some good stuff in there, but mostly not.
Mostly unbeatable, basically.
Yeah, we've also found the same thing about the low difficulties.
Yes.
So we have this idea of a clear rate, which is Mario Maker has the same thing.
Mhm.
So every time you play through the level, that counts as an attempt. And when you die, then that counts as a failure, right? And if you win, then that's a success, of course. So you have all these kind of metrics about like how many times people play levels, how many times they die, and then you can calculate sort of a general difficulty rating out of it. So if people win like half the time, then you might think, oh, that's a 50% win rate. That's probably maybe kind of tough. It's like, no, that's
extremely
trivial,
easy,
right?
Yeah.
Because in almost all scenarios, if there's even the vaguest challenge of any kind, then
People will die.
people start to die,
Yeah.
right? And so you have to actually start the filter at I think a 30% win rate. So like people would typically die a couple times on their way to beating the level. Before you actually have any kinds of levels that have any kind of interesting features or anything.
Yeah, and that
happening at
ramps
all.
up so the top two categories are like
1% and 2%.
Yeah.
But the difference, it sounds like a small difference, but that's the difference between 1 in 100 and 1 in 50.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of like how many times people beat the level. So, it really percentages are weird, because of course, as you get closer to 0%,
it's infinite.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we did take out the dumpster fire, but it was an idea.
Yeah.
It was an idea. I liked it.
And
We ditched it only because just aesthetically we couldn't figure out where to put the dumpster. Really,
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to just make a dumpster be a dumpster in space and have it be cool. It's just a dumpster.
It's just a dumpster.
And then on top of that, I mean, I think we want people to feel like their levels are definitely going into the basement, but not necessarily a dumpster that is on fire.
I mean, I kind of want people to feel like that.
Maybe
I did.
Like you make something that nobody wants to finish. Like we're putting that in the dumpster.
We should, or because you can see through your little window, right?
Mhm.
You can see your little place you're staying. You could have put a stove in there with a back burner. Then we could put stuff in there.
Your levels just go on.
And then when you hover over it, it's just on fire because then it becomes the incinerator.
Yeah, it's the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could also in the chair have a back burner that burns your back.
Yeah, that
Just
would work too.
I dig it.
yeah, just to get some extra UV and stuff like that. All right, next question comes from Conspiring Lizard for 20 grindteen. I've been
Aspiring to what?
We'll find out.
to Lizard, of course. For 20 grindteen, I've been doing yoga daily via YouTube.
Ooh, nice.
It makes me feel good and helps me get a bit stronger. I also do some workouts, but sometimes I feel like going to a gym would enhance my fitness. How do you guys feel about yoga? If I'm just starting out, should I drop dollars on a gym membership or just do home body weight workouts?
I mean, I think it depends on what works for you. I've always found that going to a place that's not my house and not having YouTube be the master of the thing that I'm looking at just helps me not do, or I guess it helps me just do the thing I'm trying to do as opposed to accidentally, fall into a YouTube or something like that. So,
and of course, if you're working out on YouTube, then either you've got your phone, which is its own thing, or you're doing it in front of like the computer or something like that. And now you're kind of like working out in an office, which is kind of a weird vibe.
Group settings for workouts, even if you're just going to the gym with a buddy or going to like a yoga class, they do tend to cause you to push a bit harder than you would normally.
Definitely.
So it depends what you want to do. I mean, if it's working for you, just to go be at home and sort of ease into it that way, then just 100% keep on doing that. But if you want to, basically, if you want to sort of up the intensity a little bit, then yeah, I mean, I think investing in yourself a little bit on the health side is one of the best things you could do.
And you can also scale things up, right? So so I have a membership at Planet Fitness, which is $10 a month, right? Because it's subsidized for each person who does go to the gym. There's 98 other people who are also paying $10 a month and have never gone, right? So you get cheap gym memberships because of how much people don't want to go to the gym. So you can take advantage of that. And then I think, like Sam said, having a sort of compartmentalizing your day, having some travel time and prep time so that you're planning out when you're going to work out, maybe like at the beginning of the day, you're packing a gym bag or something like that. It kind of creates these rituals around it that reinforce the habit. And then while you're there, you want to make good use of your time. You don't want to like drive for 10 minutes to the gym, spend 10 minutes at the gym and drive 10 minutes back. That seems crazy, right? So you're going to just naturally sort of spend a little more time. And I also like to look up workouts online and just get like a pre-made plan, and you can get all kinds of free workouts from everywhere. And that way you're also not having to constantly make the decision as you're working out of when to stop, which is like, if you're working out at home or whatever.
To me, the most important thing of all of this, it doesn't matter where you're working out. It doesn't matter what kind of exercise you're into or doing. If you have to make decisions, that's where it all falls apart.
Because you can always decide to not.
Or to do less.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yoga generally is great. It's fantastic. Yeah. Makes you all limber and strong. So
I don't think regular yoga, because there are all kinds of variants too. I don't think regular yoga is a good cardio thing.
No, it's not gonna be cardio. But
so if you're wanting cardio health, you have to find some other means. And I think cardio health is actually probably the most important one, cardiovascular health.
In terms of not dying.
In terms of like long-term health and not dying and all that good stuff. I think that's the actual. The rest like make you feel good and look good, which is also important.
In terms of feeling really good, I think yoga is probably one of the better ones. Yeah. Because you get stretched out, which is nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think just come up with a plan.
Come up with a way to not have to make decisions.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Pre-decide and then stop deciding.
Yeah. And I think, and I know like my wife's done some like online HIIT courses and things and some yoga where there's just an instructor and there's a plan where it's just like, there's 10 videos or there's 40 videos or whatever. And so you just do a video a day. Right. And some of those are paid, some of them are not. I don't think it really matters if you can afford to pay for it. It's usually a little bit more convenient to actually to do that. And just having somebody tell you what to do.
Yeah. Well, I think the other nice thing about doing the in-person ones is those that you get that fitness camaraderie, or like the health camaraderie, where like you're with other people who are also doing it. And so you might make friends, from your yoga class, which is super nice.
Yeah. Well, even when you do it, I do think that seeing other people who are like fit and like trying to do stuff. There was I think the first morning I was doing Orange Theory, I was on the treadmill, and there was a woman next to me who was just fucking crushing it, like just crushing it. She was like sprinting the whole time on the treadmill, right? And we were bouncing back and forth between doing the rowing machine and doing the treadmill. So we'd like have to go run for a certain amount of distance and then go row for a certain amount of distance. And she just outpaced me. Like, I'm not in any good physical shape, so it's not surprising. But the degree to which she did it
ridiculous,
was crazy.
Yeah.
She just crushed it. I was like, okay, I need to be like this. Like I was like watching this happen.
It's fun,
and it was, and one way you could approach that is be like, oh, I'll never be like that. Then be bummed about it. But the other one is just be like, I'm not even fucking close to that now.
But it is possible.
It's possible. This person's doing
for
it.
a person to do it.
So now all of a sudden you have like somebody to aspire to. It's kind of like when I was watching Wonder Woman. And she's going through this town with her like her trio of buddies behind her, right?
Mhm.
And they're just like, they're letting her get ahead. And there's this moment where she's like leaping across the rooftops by bursting through walls, right?
By kneeing people
and then
through
kneeing
the
people
walls.
through them in slow motion. And these three guys are like then down on the street level, like also running alongside and doing their thing, but kind of like watching this happen. And I was like, if you were running alongside that, you know, it's so fucking inspiring.
Yeah.
How could you not just be fucking pumped?
Yeah.
Right? And you could, on the other hand, be like, "Oh, I'm not Wonder Woman. I'm just this
I'm not a demigod,
Yeah,
so
right.
I guess
So what's even the point? That could be how you respond to it, but definitely the more appropriate response and the one that's more fun is to just be inspired and pumped.
just be like, how do I get closer? to
how
that?
do I get closer to that?
Even
size?
like 1 degree?
Yeah, because the reality is like I'm never going to be as fit as whoever.
You're not going to be kicking people through walls.
And I'm never going to be Wonder Woman, right?
But you can kick people into a wall.
Yeah,
You know,
Or
up against a wall.
I could kick a wall.
You could kick
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we can just always do better. you know?
You could always be better at kicking.
Yeah, but yeah, those slow mo scenes though,
Amazing.
God, so good.
So fun.
I love the scene when they were in the no man's land between the trenches, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, I got this.
So iconic.
She just starts walking,
She just got her shield.
and then she starts running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're on the other side, I'd be like, oh shit. You know?
Literally just walking up to us.
Yep. Oh boy.
Yeah, at that point, you're just like, I'm done.
Yep.
We're done warring.
I'm just gonna lay down.
War is done, guys. Calling it off.
Everybody lay
Calling
down.
it off.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all the time we have for this week. We'd like to thank our producer, Fat Bard, for making us sound good. Thanks to our community moderators who keep our Discord running. If you'd like to get more involved in the Butterscotch community, go to podcast.bscotch.net.
Not if you would. Just go there and do it.
You would, so do it. Also, we've got merch, links to the community Discord, and a way for you to donate all over there at the site. So go there and check
Just
it
all
out.
there. Just all that one place.
It's all there.
Go to that place.
So do that. Thank you all for listening.
Podcast.bscotch.net. Just go there.
And we'll see you next week.
Goodbye. Bye.